So when you think about where we are at in American soccer with our closed system, what we really have is just a nation that lacks awareness or education on the landscape of the game in America and how things are set up and configured under our federation. There's a small but growing group of people who are starting to wise up to what's really happening in American soccer, how things are rigged for a privileged few, how most of our American soccer ecosystem is disenfranchised from fair opportunity within the game from a sporting and social and economic standpoint. And while this movement is growing, there is still a vast majority which are completely oblivious to the fact that this is going on. So these are people who would agree that America needs to shift to an open soccer system if they were aware of the issue itself. So when you think about when we do get to that point of an open USA soccer system, I always say that it's inevitable that we will get there. We're going to really look at the past, right now, 2018, in the last few decades, and really shake our heads at how we upheld this unfair, unjust, closed market for so long. And I think what it really comes down to, why are we this way? Why is it so hard to break out of this trance of the closed system discrimination in USA soccer? And I think it's because we live in a environment where the U.S. sports model is just part of one's upbringing. That's all we're used to. Particularly I'm 28 now, and so a lot of people who are in their 20s or older in America really didn't have a lot of exposure to open system club soccer in their early years. Well, they did have a lot of exposure to the U.S. sports model leagues like NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Now that's changing here with the new generation having open system, open access, promotion, relegation soccer basically piped into their fingertips with mobile devices and satellite TV. But the U.S. sports model is embedded deeply in our American culture right now, at least with the adults. And we get this false understanding or false belief that this is a just system. And you can maybe make the case that it's not that bad for these U.S. sports leagues, these sports that are isolated from global competition. Yes, they do play those American sports abroad, but they are fairly isolated for the most part here in the U.S. So you can maybe make a case that, because there aren't, Division I sanctions aren't as important in U.S. sports as they are in soccer, U.S. soccer, then it's okay. We can let that slide as far as our NFL, NBA, our U.S. sports are concerned. But with soccer, of course, it's different. The divisional sanctions are vital under a national soccer federation, our USSF governing federation. They literally represent the market hierarchy itself. So it's just like a company in any other industry. If you're D1, that means you are the best, you're the most profitable, you are selling the most, in alignment with FIFA's merit-based competition standards. That's how you are supposed to structure things. Everyone is supposed to prove their worth on a field and as a club and support and administration around the field. The game should be the decider. But unfortunately, here in America, everything is based off of money or who you're connected with, what culture you're from. You have to buy into MLS, and they have to accept you into Division I, which is just a completely upside down way to go about running soccer. It goes completely against the open access nature of global soccer, the global soccer that Americans love. So what do we need to get to a point of opening the USA soccer system? We need the general public to smarten up and speak out against this closed system. So that's coming with time. As I mentioned, the movement, the awareness of The Open USA Soccer movement is growing by the day. You look back month by month, year by year, just in the past couple of years alone, there's tremendous progress in the general public in terms of the growth of education and knowledge of how our USA Soccer ecosystem works and how our governance works and how things work beneath the global governance of FIFA, how our U.S. Soccer Governing Federation is really beholden to one single company within our ecosystem, how we have a backwards relationship between a company beneath the governing body, a constituent, MLS, and its marketing arm, Soccer United Marketing, basically controlling the actions of the U.S. Soccer Federation. It should be the other way around. The governing federation should be the one that puts its foot down and that stands up for every single participant in the ecosystem. So people are starting to become aware of how corrupt things are in USA Soccer and how our federation, our governing federation, isn't doing its job, and we're starting to demand change. I mean, look at the 2018 presidential election. For the first time in a couple of election cycles, we actually had a challenger to the sitting U.S. Soccer president, Sunil Gulati. So we did get a new president. Unfortunately, it wasn't really a change candidate, one who stands up for an open system. So we're kind of status quo with our new president, Carlos Cordero, but at least we had challengers and people starting to speak up and think about what needs to change in American soccer and how we are so grossly mishandling this great open access game of soccer that we are privileged to have. So we need to just keep educating the general public. Let them know what's going on. I was in this situation just 2013, 2014. I barely knew the inner workings of the U.S. Soccer Governing Federation and how MLS was involved in everything. I thought MLS was eventually going to come good, but then I started to realize what's with this stagnation. We seem to it's been a decade since 2004. We haven't we're not progressing much. Popularity for MLS is growing at a slower rate than popularity for foreign club soccer in the hearts and minds of the American people. So clearly MLS wasn't working, and then I started to put the pieces together and look at our landscape. I realized how soccer was indeed a massive sport in America already. It's just kind of hidden and fragmented beneath the surface because everything is geared towards the MLS demographic, of course, the white suburban middle upper class demographic for the most part. So it's easy to miss the fact that soccer is a massive, massive sport in the USA. So once you put the pieces together, do your own research on the landscape of American soccer, it starts to make sense. All we are missing is this one critical policy decision, an open market, which gives everyone a fair shot in the ecosystem. When you open the competition to all, people are incentivized to innovate, to invest, to develop, and that's when you see great results as more and more people are allowed into the competition. And we'll be able to leverage the awesome diversity the American soccer ecosystem has as well. If we have something that's unlike anything else in the world or in world history, we have an awesome, awesome collection of diverse soccer players, soccer minds, soccer fans here in our nation. So the only way we're going to make the most of our potential is by simply aligning our USA Soccer ecosystem with the proven open access model that we've seen work around the world for decades, for centuries. We're just missing this one critical piece, and it's all down to our U.S. Soccer Governing Federation. That's really the start and end of the whole debate. If this current USSF Federation can't lead us forward in this, then we need to start an alternate U.S. Soccer Governing Federation, or we need FIFA or the U.S. government to step in and clean USSF. If not, they can sanction the new USA Soccer Governing Federation, one that represents all people in the American soccer ecosystem. And MLS, hey, go knock yourselves out, operate like an NFL or an NBA league, off on your own without a Division I sanction. No one's forcing you to participate. We'd love to have you involved in the open system, but if you don't want to play ball, then you are free to go operate on your own. But you don't deserve some sort of special market privilege, a monopoly over the USA Soccer Division I sanction. That's simply not fair to 99% of American soccer. So keep up the good work, keep informing people, keep educating people on what really is happening in American soccer. Really have a just a knowledge gap here that we need to overcome. Once people become aware of what is happening and what could be in American soccer, once they start to dream for American soccer's future, dream big, it really all falls into place. So it's just a matter of making people aware of the movement to open USA Soccer to all. So if you like this video, make sure to share it out across social media and also subscribe right here to my channel. You can also comment in the comments below, and I'll talk to you soon.